right, everybody. Welcome back to Floatplan Podcast. We're going to start our tour of engine rooms today, and we're on a 70-foot Ocean Alexander with Matt Maynard.
Hey guys, thanks for coming aboard, and thank you to the owner of Playbook for allowing us to do a tour of his engine room. Engine rooms are always so different between the boats, and we're really looking forward to showing you a number of different types of engine rooms on all sorts of different years boats. This one happens to be a 2018. We're going to show you an engine room in a 1991 boat that was actually built here at the Vic Frank Boat Yard as we sit at Pacific Coast Yachting Services. Thank you for the guys at Pacific Coast Yachting Services for allowing us to come down and do our podcast for you today. So let's go down and take a tour of the engine room of this 70 OA. As you open the aft door and make your way down, you come to the lazarette area, and this is actually where the pods are kept. Now, this owner just brought the boat up from Portland, so he still has all his stuff stored down here. But if it was here for service, which, by the way, make sure to check out our podcast on prepping your boat for the boatyard, you would have everything opened up. But here you can actually have one of the pods open to the lazarette so that you can actually get your service done. This is one of the type of pods you can actually service in the water. The earlier versions of the IPS, you actually had to pull the boat out and have it serviced. This one you can service in the water. We do recommend, as we work with people on boats, that you do pull the boat every year with pods just as routine maintenance. I know they say you can go longer than that, but I can tell you from experience that little bit of peace of mind is worth a lot more than a haul out just to check, because you're going to look at seals, you're going to look at props. Not a bad thing to do just once a year. When we work with somebody on a boat, we like to make sure and give them the proper expectation of what to do with the pod. There's some great things that pods do. The joystick, the fuel economy, because you actually can use a smaller engine because you get direct horizontal propulsion versus the downward angle of the shaft. They do require more maintenance, so it's always going to be a give and take, but every boat's a give and take. Timmy, you know that. We both know that. I mean, my boat's a 1987. There's a lot of give. So as you enter the lazarette, it's also the crew area, so you'll see ahead in here. But the nice thing is they have a insulated soundproof door, so watertight. And then as we enter his engine room, which is nice and clean, and mind you, this boat just came up a couple of days ago. We're in a stand-up engine room. I am 6 feet tall. I can stand up all the way. For 6'4", you'll have to duck a little bit right here, but in general, it's actually a pretty tall engine room. And there's just room, which is nice. And they actually pack a lot into this, but do make everything accessible. This has the IPS 1200s, along with twin Kohler generators. You have port and starboard. Then this owner actually did add a lithium battery bank, which you may have heard us talk about in our lithium episode here on the Floatplan podcast. So everything is accessible. He also added a diesel furnace, which is what you see up here. You have your HVAC units, your each individual unit there. You can see some of the Victron equipment as you look around to see, oh, Victron. You'll kind of see a theme for lithium banks.
Talk to us a little bit about Octoplex, because I know that's a newer boat thing.
So what you have is you still do have circuit breakers, but you have digital switching. So up at the helm, you actually have a control panel where you can literally turn lights on and off with the push of a button. You can turn systems on, turn them off. It gives you basically a digital panel instead of doing breaker by breaker. You will see that we do have breakers in the boat. There are physical breakers, but those, the Octoplex system will actually electronically operate all those various things on and off. Mm-hmm. You also have your cable master in here. You have what we call genseps, which helps mitigate the noise on your generator exhaust. You have water makers. You have water softeners. He obviously strapped down his toolbox. He just ran out of a little bit of room, but you'll see lithium. These are lithium batteries in these boxes, which is pretty cool. You'll see everything serviced. You'll see nice, clean, tidy engine rooms. You have dual ray cores so that if you clog one, you can switch over to the other. You should never have it running on both unless there's an absolute need to. Then you've got all your Delta T systems. Delta T makes one of the best engine room exhaust fan systems, intake and outtake systems in the industry. Ocean Alexander always uses great equipment. Then you just have all your various electrical equipment. You have your through holes for your various generator, heat and air conditioning. And like I said, this boat also happens to have a diesel furnace. It also has a fuel polishing system. So if you do get a load of bad fuel, which can happen, at least you can move the fuel around, polish it, and hopefully get the algae or whatever other contaminants you might have in there out of it.
And that'll save your trip up north, won't it?
Oh, it can. I can tell you personally, having ran a boat all the way up from Portland, we took on fuel, and I don't want to necessarily say where we got it.
That's a good idea.
Let's just say we did get a bad load of fuel, and when we got to Seattle, I'm amazed that we could even run the boat. I looked at, and there was so much algae in the Raycor. It looked like braided hair. There was just, I don't even know how that. And fortunately, we were able to switch over and save the trip. But that fuel polisher can go a long way to saving your trip when you have a bad load of fuel.
Yeah.
Without having to go in and sit at a boatyard and have them take care of it. You can do it all on board. You just have to have the right equipment and be prepped for it. But in any case, this is the first of our engine room tours, and hold on a second, we're going to show you another one.
Welcome back. We're on a Vic Frank. So Matt, tell us a little about this boat.
All right, this boat was originally started here, actually next door to where we are, the Vic Frank Boat Company. We had the pleasure of selling it to the second owner, who did a major refit on it. And when he was done using the boat, he decided to sell it. And so we again had the opportunity to work with the current owner, who has not only kept up the boat but improved upon it. As we go through the lazarette and the workroom and the engine room, you're going to see just how much space is in one of these boats. They just don't make them like this anymore. This is a Garden Design, local designer, and built locally. Admiral Marine out of Port Angeles, built the hull, and Vic Frank finished it. And so what we're going to do today is just do another engine room tour, 2 of 3 or 4 that we'll show you in this episode. So let's start going in the utility room. So down just in front of the master is the utility, where you can take a couple of steps down, and it's cool. You get a full workbench. This is an owned boat. The boat is not for sale, but we want to give you an idea of what people do with their space and how they utilize it. So in here you've got twin water heaters, which is great. And you've got a full workbench, and you've got drawer storage. You have your vise. You don't see this in a lot of more modern boats where you actually have a full-on utility room. It's as demand has changed and people's tended to hire people a little more often and don't do quite the same long-range cruising on these types of boats that they used to. Owners used to be places where they had to do the work themselves. So a utility room like this with the workbench and everything else was always really nice to have. So as you can see, it's full of stuff. When this owner goes far north, almost to Alaska, he wants to be able to have what he needs to be able to get himself out of a pinch should something arise, which occasionally does. We've kind of all been into that. But what you're going to find in this boat is you're going to find twin 8V92 Detroits, Pacific Power products. Here's a little plug to them. Rebuilt both of these engines for the previous owner before this owner purchased it. But we have a massive engine room. As you can see, you probably have a 16-foot engine room, wide engine room at least, if not a little bit more.
And the boat's what, 80 feet total?
This boat's 80 feet total. Started out as a 77, and the previous owner enclosed the swim step and made it a cockpit, and then added another swim step, so you're right at 80 feet with this boat. It's currently kept in a boathouse. It's one of the reasons why it shows so well. But here you have just your massive engine room. Every system has been gone through and redone on this, so you have electronic controls. This boat originally had the Mathers Marine pneumatic air controls, which are super reliable. In fact, they're still used today. They've been on some boats for 60 years, and they're still being used.
Tell us more about what those actually are.
All right, so what you have an air compressor, and you have compressed air into your control system, and as you move the lever forward and back, it pushes the air pneumatically, and then it actuates the transmission, and then actuates the throttle for the engine. Now, if you've ever watched Deadliest Catch, you'll see some of those on the Deadliest Catch boats. And in fact, there's still a couple of boats for sale currently, if you look at a 65 Vic Frank located down in Stockton, you'll actually see those controls still in use today, and they work great for that owner. Vic Frank and Mathers had a great relationship. Mathers was a local company. Cale Mathers, the grandson of the original founder, is now a well-known surveyor in the area. Little plug for Cale as well.
And he's a nice guy. He did our last one. I really liked working with him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience in the marine industry, to say the least, with his family background. But let's get back to our boat, because that's why we're here, right? So obviously 8V92s, you'll see all sorts of variations on these engines. This one obviously is twin turbo. I think it's 760 horse, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. So obviously twin turbos. He has the block heaters on. It's nice and warm in here. That's how this owner currently keeps the boat. This is one of our favorite classic boats. We will hopefully get to do a tour after it comes out of the yard and the boat's ready. And you may even see this boat in a future Floatplan podcast episode of how to prep your boat for sale how to prep your boat for a boat yard. So what things you can do to help actually save yourself a little bit of money when you go into the boat yard, and to protect your boat and make it easier on you and the yard both. So getting back to our engine room, obviously we have a fire suppression system which has been tagged. Everything on this boat has been touched. So the exhaust has been touched and redone. You have exhaust cans, mixing elbows in the back that have all been redone. This boat happens to have a sanitation system, a processing system, which is what this tidal wave system is. Now in the Puget Sound area, this is still not legal to use. There is no discharge allowed, even of processed waste. So if you were to go up to Canada or Alaska, you could use this, process your black or holding tank water, and make it legally discharge it, and it has been processed and is better, put it that way. Back here we also have pneumatics and an air compressor system. You have valves for fuel transfer and fuel flow depending on what you want to go where. You can move fuel around, and that. Dripless shaft seals. These are the PSS dripless on this boat. Your twin Raycors, you probably saw that same system on the 2018 70 Ocean Alexander that we did an engine room. So not much has changed. Some things are changed and some things stay the same. There are some components even on a 1990 boat that are identical to what you see in a 2018. All right, so obviously we have the reservoir tank for our hydraulic system back here. Hoses. When we surveyed this boat for the current owner, it surveyed out very well and was definitely a lot of fun to do. As we make our way back, we obviously have twin generators, more storage, a second chest freezer.
Second chest freezer.
Well, they go out for months at a time. You have a water maker in the back. And remember, I'm 6 feet tall and I'm standing straight up. I just touch my head on the ceiling. So that's how much room you have in this boat. But you have your choice of generators, and obviously he's got all his biking gear. They do a lot of biking. This is a very active family. They also, on the boat deck up top, have two tenders. They have an Olympic fishing tender as well as an inflatable for bopping around. So just a lot of room, a lot of space, a lot of storage. You have batteries up underneath. And then you also have another hatch right above us and stairs that go up to the aft deck, which, again, look in our future Floatplan podcast, and we'll show you how they protected that aft deck for this boatyard visit. We are actually currently out of the water, too, at Pacific Coast Yachting Services. And we just want to say thank you to the owner for allowing us to use his engine room in Lazarette. Now let's move on to another engine room, and stay tuned.
We're here for the next leg of our engine room series on Rendezvous. Matt's going to walk us through it. Matt, this boat's listed for sale, right?
It is listed for sale with our friends over at Alexander Marine USA. Great guys to work with. Greg Wilkinson is a friend, and he's also a very good broker. Don't hesitate to get a hold of him if you have any questions. The cool thing is this is a 2014 82-foot Ocean Alexander cockpit motor yacht. So Ocean Alexander obviously is doing a little bit larger boats in general these days, and this, as they progressed up in 2014, this is a fantastic boat. And so today we're going to take you on a tour of the engine room to complete our engine room series. So obviously you can get here to the engine room from the cockpit area. So you come around aft and open the door. You can set it up, and there's a pin so that you can keep the door open from sliding open and closed on you. So once you open it, if you want to keep it open, you can lock it in place. And then we go down into the crew quarter. The nice thing that Ocean Alexander does, like many builders, is they actually complete their crew quarters just like a regular stateroom. So there would be no issues having one of your guests come down, or if it's the kids and all that, using this as an additional stateroom. A lot of people do, depending on the part of the country you're in. In the Pacific Northwest, most of us are owner-operators. We don't really run with crew that often. Every now and then if you do a long passage or you need a boat relocated, but in general, most of our boats under 100 feet are owner-operated. So you've got obviously crew quarters down here, and they've got some stuff in here. We want to be very respectful of that. And thank you again to the guys here at Pacific Coast Yachting Services, as well as Alexander Marine USA, for allowing us to tour one of their listings. By all means, please give them a call if you're interested in this boat and you like it. Great guys to work with. In any case, so we'll go through the crew quarter and we enter the engine room. Now this boat, you can tell, has been well kept. It's got about 2,000 hours on 10V2000 MTU engines. So these are obviously high horsepower engines, and as you see with most Ocean Alexanders, a well thought out, well laid out engine room. So you have a nice walkway. You've got carbon fiber support handrails as you go around the engine room. And once you get in here, you'll see just a plethora, I've been waiting to use that word, of equipment, from your HVAC compressors and units to your hydraulic tank. So we'll take a look at the HVAC units to start. And he has his fire system tagged, obviously a Victron battery charger. You have forward your main, we'll call it brains, of the computers for each of your engines, along with your fuel tanks forward with sight glasses. And then you have your Raycor filters, as you probably saw on the other boat we did, the 1990 Vic Frank. Very similar. Some things don't change. Mm-hmm. When it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And those Raycor filters are considered just standard, the best in the industry. So in any case, what's kind of cool in here is they figured out we can put some rod holder storage. The other thing that Alexander Marine went to is you'll see ceramic exhaust. A lot of builders went to that as they started to get into past the aughts, which is 2000, 2010, into the 2000 teens. So support structure with rubber reinforced cushion for your exhaust, which is of course underwater. And then this boat actually features Tides dripless shaft seals. So if you take a look at the shaft seal, Timmy, you'll see this one is blue. The last one we looked at was black. Those are the two main types of seals that you'll see in most pleasure craft. So Tides and PSS. PSS is actually a local made company. Tides is also a U.S. company. So it just depends on what the builder specified and what they wanted in there when they built it. Of course, standard with Ocean Alexander, their Delta T ventilation system, best in the business. They have genseps for the generators to keep them quiet. This owner happens to have a large toolbox in here, so he has what he needs to be able to work underway. Good thing about Ocean Alexanders, again, is you can get all the way around the engine, so even a guy like me can climb up and around. And you'll see they have built-in safety steps, so you can step over, get to the outboard side of your engines without risking getting hurt over a moving shaft. Now, if you can not have to climb over a moving shaft, that's always best, but if you do, they do have steps, protection steps built for that. You'll see an air compressor in this boat. You'll see all sorts of electrical equipment. And the nice thing when you work with the guys at AM USA is they spend the time to teach you the boat and really go through it. And they're good guys to work with. On the outboard side of each engine, of course, under the HVAC units, you have the twin 32 kW Kohler generators, with each, I think those have about 2,000 hours on them as well. But in any case, they've got nice and bright in here. You've got both DC and AC fluorescent lighting, so nice and bright. You can see everything. Engines look great. They definitely look well maintained. I think they've even just serviced them. So the boat should be ready to go for the next owner. Rendezvous's had very good maintenance history and really is a class boat. But we just wanted to give you guys one more tour of yet another engine room, something a little bit different. So you can see some of the evolution in Ocean Alexanders between the 70E, the Vic Frank, and the 82. So you have two American-made boats. Believe it or not, the 70E was built in Florida. Vic Frank built here locally in Seattle, and obviously this boat at Ocean Alexander's facility in Taiwan. But in any case, that'll conclude our engine room tours for this episode of the Floatplan podcast. Thank you so much for coming. And Timmy, what do you think?
If there's anything else you want to see, you have to let us know. The internet spoke and said it wanted to see engine tours. So here we are. And we got a couple that we thought were pretty interesting to look at. So if you want to see anything else, let us know and we'll do our best to find it.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.